Today, we will discuss the results of Jupiter's Antidasha in the Mahadasha of Jupiter, etc., in Chapter 56, Verse 1 of Parashara Hora Shastra. We're stepping directly into the profound depths of Vedic timekeeping and planetary interpretation here. In this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly what happens when the expansive, benevolent energy of Jupiter folds into its own overarching time period. We'll examine the direct textual translation, parse its philosophical and practical layers, and then, most crucially, we're going to walk through the rigorous mathematical formulas required to precisely time these amazing, auspicious events.
So, when we carefully parse this beautifully preserved original Sanskrit text of verses 1 through 3.5, we observe the foundational auspicious results prescribed when Jupiter is placed in its sign of exaltation, its own sign, or in a Kendra or Trikona from the ascendant. Now, to really understand the gravity of this, we have to recognize that a Kendra refers to the foundational angular houses, while a Trikona represents those highly auspicious trine houses. Think of it like this. When Jupiter, the great benefic planet of wisdom and expansion, is situated in these powerful, supportive, geometric angles of a chart, it operates at its absolute highest potential. The text dictates that such a placement during its own major and minor period, the Mahadasha and Antardasha, unlocks an extraordinary, unhindered flow of positive manifestation. We're talking about the highest dignity of a planet literally amplifying its own natural significations to the maximum degree.
Notice the duality of interpretation here. It's fascinating. On one side, we have the literal translation of the verse, speaking directly of material sovereignty, immense riches, sovereignty over kings, and interactions with royalty. But as serious researchers of this material, we really must look deeper. In the context of Vedic thought, terms like kings and sovereignty aren't always about literal crowns and thrones, right? Philosophically, this actually points to spiritual opulence, divine grace, the attainment of higher wisdom, and ultimate mastery over one's own senses and destiny. Jupiter is, by its very nature, the guru, the teacher. So while the literal text promises a worldly empire, the philosophical heart of the text promises an empire of the mind and spirit, marking a profound expansion of your inner awareness and an unshakable alignment with universal laws.
To bring this down to earth a bit, let's examine this matrix of practical bhav, or house, results. From an astrological and structural standpoint, this exalted Jupiter placement triggers some highly specific, tangible manifestations. The ancient text explicitly mentions gains in cattle, clothing, ornaments, conveyances, new house construction, extraordinary employer profits, and profound happiness with one's wife and children. Now, today, we might update those ancient markers of wealth. For example, cattle and conveyances seamlessly translate to modern vehicles, diverse stock portfolios, or significant real estate acquisitions. The crucial point to internalize here is that Jupiter's energy in this specific time cycle is completely holistic. It doesn't just bless your career or merely support your home, it brings a comprehensive, sweeping wave of prosperity that elevates physical wealth, professional milestones, and deep domestic harmony, all at exactly the same time.
Section 1. Antardasha Time Cycle Mathematics.
Knowing what will happen is really only half the equation. Knowing exactly when it will happen is the true science of Jyotish. To accurately predict when these auspicious Jupiter results will manifest, we transition from textual interpretation to the strict mathematical foundation of the Vimshatari Dasha system. You see, the ancient sages didn't just leave us with philosophical poetry, they left us an intensely rigorous, fractal system of time division. The basic mathematical rule for Antardasha sadhana, which is simply the calculation of the subperiod, is surprisingly straightforward. Step 1, you identify the total dasa years of the Mahadasha Lord. Step 2, identify the dasa years of the Antardasha Lord. Step 3, multiply these two values together. And finally, Step 4, divide that total product by 120. So, for Jupiter's Antardasha within Jupiter's Mahadasha, you take Jupiter's total allotted Vimshatari years, which is 16, multiply by 16, and divide by 120. This specific mathematical operation gives you the exact length of the subperiod in years, months, and days. It's a perfect, flawless, proportional scaling of planetary time.
Section 2. Pratyantardasha Sadhana Rules.
But what if we need to zoom in even closer? A subperiod can last for years, which simply isn't specific enough for navigating practical daily life. As we require more chronological precision to map specific events within Jupiter's subperiod, we apply the Pratyantardasha Sadhana rules to find the exact sub-subperiod. This is where the fractal nature of Vedic astrology really shines.
We're taking the period we just calculated and slicing it again, using the exact same proportional logic. As instructed by the ancient mathematical flow, we take a slightly different approach here to make the math easier for smaller units of time. First, we convert the antardasha span we previously found into total days. Then we multiply that total number of days by the dasha years of the specific planet whose pratyantardasha we're trying to isolate. Finally, we divide that product by 120. This arrives at the exact pratyantardasha duration in days. It's a beautiful, cascading sequence of multiplication and division that narrows our predictive window down to a highly actionable timeframe of months or weeks.
Now, you might have noticed a recurring number in our equations, 120. It's mathematically paramount to note that this number acts as the fundamental base constant throughout all of these sequential time cycle calculations. So why 120? Well, in the Vimshattari Dasha system, 120 years is considered the ideal full span of a human life. Every planetary period is a specific fraction of this 120-year whole. By constantly dividing our calculated products by 120, we're continually anchoring the planetary cycles back to the absolute scale of the human lifetime. It's the constant denominator that keeps all these incredibly complex calculations mathematically grounded and philosophically consistent with the human experience.
Section 3. Micro-timing, Sukshma and Prana Dasha Sadhana.
Okay, we've gone from years to months to weeks, but the Parshurahara Shastra actually demands even greater accuracy. To achieve absolute astrological precision, our calculations have to descend further into the microscopic layers of planetary time, the Sukshma and Prana dashas. Sukshma translates roughly to subtle, and Prana refers to breath or life force. We're stepping into time frames that represent mere days, hours, and eventually, the very breaths we take. To accurately calculate this subtle period, the Sukshmantar dasha, step 1 is to take the previously calculated period of the Prachintar dasha. Step 2, you multiply that by the specific dasa years of the planet in question. Step 3, you once again divide the resulting product by our constant, 120. We're using the exact same foundational formula, just feeding it increasingly smaller chronological inputs. And because we're dealing with such minute fractions of time, the ancient texts utilize units like gatakas and palas rather than modern hours and minutes. This allows for flawless, integer-based division without any messy decimals.
Let's look at a concrete procedural example straight from the text to make this perfectly clear. Using the sun as a primary example, the text states, we take a predetermined pratyantar dasa span of 324 gatakas. We multiply that by the sun's designated dasa period, which is perpetually 6 years. 324 multiplied by 6 gives us 1,944. We then divide 1,944 by our human life constant 120. This operation yields a precise Sukshma dasa period of exactly 16 gatakas and 12 palas. To understand this in modern terms, a gataka is a traditional Vedic measure of time equal to exactly 24 minutes, and a pala is 24 seconds. This means through these cascading equations, we've just isolated a specific planetary influence down to a highly specific window of just a few hours.
And yet, believe it or not, we can go one layer deeper. This is the final calculation methodology for establishing the Prana Dasha spans, as meticulously detailed in Chapter 63 of our source. The Prana Dasha Sadhana rule dictates multiplying the exact Sukshma Dasa span we just derived by the given planet's Dasa years and dividing by 120 to find the absolute most minute observable planetary cycle. This is the ultimate micro-timing technique available in the text. We're quite literally zooming in from a massive 16-year Jupiter major period, drilling down through the layers, all the way down to a window of time that governs a specific morning, afternoon, or evening.
Let's follow that sun example to its absolute conclusion. To make the mathematics work seamlessly at this micro level, we convert our previous Sukshma result of 16 gatikas and 12 palas entirely into the smaller unit of palas, which gives us a starting value of 972 palas. This final step gives us the exact Prana Dasha length. We take those 972 palas, multiply by the sun's 6 dasha years, and divide once more by 120. This yields a final microscopic duration of exactly 48 palas and 36 vipalas. Demonstrating the incredible procedural rigor of Vedic timekeeping, we've just calculated a planetary cycle down to roughly 19 minutes. It's a breathtaking display of mathematical astronomy mapped directly onto the human experience, proving that within this ancient framework, there are absolutely no random moments.
As we consider the scope of the Brihad Parashara Shastra, it becomes intensely clear just how intricate this structure really is. from the grand, sweeping promises of spiritual wisdom and material prosperity found in Jupiter's major periods, down to the exact mathematical formulas that predict the onset of these events, to the very minute, this text offers a complete, structured blueprint of time itself. It leaves us to wonder, if our moments can be mapped so precisely by the cosmos, down to the very breath, how deliberately should we be living each and every one of those 120 years? On behalf of the Vedmata AI family, if you found our presentation informative, please share our video as widely as possible so that the authentic knowledge of Indian Vedic texts can reach the masses. Let us all participate in this yagya of knowledge.